You mentioned earlier, I want to pivot a little bit because you mentioned earlier the parents that were showing up at school board meetings and complaining about their local school board's policies and how they're educating their children. What do we know so far about what the FBI has been doing to those parents?
That they, that it was at the request. You know, they made it look like there was a letter that was sent from the national school
some alphabet
group
nonprofit
sent it to there to give the appearance that they were requesting this from the government, but even that request was curated by the executive branch. So there's already some funny business going on there to make it look like they requested it. But then it's a counterterrorism unit within the FBI, like not the appropriate title or place. Probably not their charter.
Yeah.
And they created...
Speaking of the abuse of language, frustrated parents at failing schools are being pursued by a terrorist unit.
Yeah. And then they created a tag to track this, EDU official. And I'll tell you, I'm not an expert in it. I'm not a subject matter expert. If you had Jim Jordan here, he could better explain it to you. But that's what I know.
And is that something you guys will
Absolutely.
be looking at?
Yeah. So that's an example of something we'll look at. Hunter Biden's laptop is not an example. Is an example of something we would not look at. Did the FBI fall down on the job there? Yeah. Was it part of a program to infringe on American civil liberties? Not necessarily. Now you could probably find some things where somebody tried to talk about Hunter Biden's laptop at Twitter and got censored. Okay, that's a civilian who's trying to express an opinion and their First Amendment was infringed. That would be in it. But asking the FBI, why didn't you, or the DOJ, why didn't you pursue a prosecution when you knew this was real? Not inside of the purview of this committee.
What other big issues do you think take priority?
I'm reluctant to make a list, but as an example of how broad this could be, the DOJ, FBI, ATF created this form. They had no congressional authorization to do it, where you could sign away your gun rights. And if you signed this, they just threw you in the NICS background check system and made you a prohibited person. There was no statutory authorization for that. Why did they create that form? And people, they gave it to people and people signed it. Now, why would you sign such a form? Probably because, you were facing a threat, and if the threat is there and you're doing something to get out from under that threat, where's the court? Where's the adjudication? Like, that to me is an infringement of civil liberties. Now it's a Second Amendment. I want to know, how do you get put on the no-fly list, the secret no-fly list? What's the process? Is there a form somewhere and somebody can type your name in? Is there an algorithm? What are we searching for to put Americans on that list? I'm not talking about, foreign visitors or whatever, foreign people in foreign lands. Knock yourself out on that stuff. That's not in our domain. But the fact that an American shows up on that list, how did they get on that list? And now they show up at the airport and they can't travel. So that's another example. But those are examples. Those are, just because I'm listing things doesn't mean that's where it's limited to.